back to the Spotlight Games podcast, Drop In, Drop Out's news podcast for episode 211. I'm your host, Patrick, and dropping in this week, the Friendship Design, Cameron French. How are you?
Hello, Patrice. Hello, chat. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm so good. We've been having if you don't know, if you listen to this or you watch this on YouTube, and you're just like, oh, the music plays, we start the podcast live. We always do a pre-show. Oftentimes we talk some sort of pizza talk, which we stumbled into today. It wasn't on purpose, but the vibes, we love to start the vibe with the pre-show. And we just ended the pre-show hearing about Cameron tearing his shoulder, impulsively taking down a deck. And I must hear the story, Cameron. What happened?
Well, my husband and I moved to Denver a couple years ago, and there was this old, terrible shed in the back of in the backyard. And me being, I'm from Nebraska. You can take the boy out of Nebraska. You cannot take the Nebraska out of the boy.
For sure.
Small town. I was just like, I'm going to tear this thing down myself. So I went and bought sledgehammers, the massive, pickaxe things. And, one weekend I just ripped into the shed, tore it down.
Wow.
From the roof to the windows to the flooring till it was
from the window to the wall.
Yeah, some might say.
Wow.
And the sweat did drop down my balls.
How about that? Was it summertime or you just were getting sweaty?
It was summertime.
Yeah. So then you tore something doing that, or you just tore down the shed?
No, I tore down and tore down. My my left shoulder got perma-fucked for the rest of my life. It'll be probably a little janky. It's actually really bad today. So
did you tear a ligament?
There's a possibility, but Patrick, it's America in 2026. I'm not going to the doctor unless there are dire consequences.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll never know. But I am my father's daughter, and he's got bad wings. So I'm gonna have bad wings too.
Yeah. Ugh, brutal. Absolutely, positively brutal. Well, Cam, we do have a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games podcast, where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Drop In Drop Out Pod, or by searching for Drop In Drop Out in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on twitch.tv/dropin-drop-out-pod, just like our Raiders JK Games podcast, High Score Weekly, Kayla Gray, Rabbit, Gianni, Davey, Cater Blossom, and thousands more screaming fans from the annals of the online sphere of Twitch.
Stop.
So follow us on Twitch so they notified when we go live so you can be part of the conversation. Some quick housekeeping things before we get into the show. Last night over on the JK Games podcast, Josh, Jerica, initial impressions of Dave the Diver's DLC In the Jungle, which is my current game of the year.
What?
I'll save it for what we're playing.
I'm going to have to listen.
I wasn't on the show. They hate me over there. They don't invite me. I'm just kidding. I was busy. Yeah. But so we have that. And then later this week on the podcast, Drop In, Drop Out, Khalif Adams from Spawn On Me coming on the show. We're going to be doing a little bit of a debate, as it were, 2D versus 3D. We're going to look at your biggest franchises that have done both, your Marios, your Sonics, your Zeldas, and we're going to have to pick one to stay and one to go. And we're going to argue it out. We're going to decide on what we think should stay, what we think should go. So we hope to see you in the chat and peek behind the curtain. We're going to be throwing this all over socials with a little template that Jerica designed rather. So keep your eye out on our socials, Drop In, Drop Out Pod everywhere, so you can play the game with us and decide 2D or 3D. Cameron, as you know, and as our sweet viewers and listeners know, we like to start our episodes here with what we're playing. However, there's a lot of bad news again to talk about this week, so I want to take our time getting there, and I want to actually start by asking a bit about you and your gaming history. Drop In, Drop Out listeners, they know the Friendship Design very well, and in fact, most Spotlight Games listeners probably also know all about the Friendship Design. However, this is your first appearance on our news show, Spotlight Games, and so I'd like to take a little jaunt through the history of gaming with the Friendship Design. Like, where'd you start? What are some favorites of yours? What was your journey to get here today? And, we don't have to spin a tale, but I want to hear a little history of the Friendship Design.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, are you seeing a phantom shadow and highlight in my camera? I've thought that there might be a ghost in this house, and
I've seen some movement in some capacity.
audio listeners, make sure you come over to YouTube and watch the VOD, because there's something I need some Mythbusters, some investigations happening.
Sure.
But let's talk about my gaming journey.
Yeah.
Born March 1991, a
Whoa.
sweet spring Aries babe.
Yeah, you are.
When I was brought home from the hospital, I have 2 older brothers, and I was lucky enough to always have some video game system. So my family started with the NES.
Nice.
I feel like a lot of us in our age demographic. And from there, I've had consoles and video games in my home. Literally every iteration, every console you can think of. But it really started with the NES and the Nintendo. But it wasn't until the Super Nintendo, I was a little bit older, I could get my hands, around the curved controller a little bit easier.
Curved.
Your boy likes a little curve. And that's when it clicked for me. So the Super Nintendo was the thing where I was like, oh, Mega Man X? There's a story to be told here. The graphics were better. 32-bit over 16?
Oh, yeah, double. Double is good.
Double. I'll take 2 twins. And then from there, Nintendo was a mainstay for me. Platformers were always big. RPGs.
Yeah.
But
do you remember the first game that you were like, oh, I'm so locked the fuck in?
Oh, probably Pokemon. Pokemon Blue. That was I got that for Christmas the year it came out, and that was my first console. That was my everything was share with your brothers. But the Game Boy Color, the purplish blue one, Pokemon Blue locked me in, and
Were your brothers big gamers too, or did that they eventually grew out of it and you kind of stuck with the gaming?
They definitely started. So we grew up in a small town in Nebraska where the closest neighbor was 2 miles away.
Whoa.
So my
you had
parents,
land.
Yeah. And so my parents were like, you can't go out into the street and play with your friends. There's no come home when the lights come up on the street or whatever. See, even me trying to talk about that that deeply urban living situation of being I'm surrounded by neighbors and friends and family. I didn't have that. And so I think my parents were like, we got to give them video games.
Something. He needs something.
Yeah. And so my brothers were gamers when we started out. I remember they would just typical older brother stuff, beat the shit out of me when I lost at WWE Nitro or whatever the Hulk Hogan one was. But they eventually fell off. But I just couldn't stop. I was too locked in with video games.
Sure. Do you so Game Boy Color you said was your first really yours of your own. Mm-hmm. As you got older, what was the first console where you were like, oh, this is like for me it was I played so many console and games and whatever, but when I bought my own PS3 I was like, oh, I'm so locked in on this. Yeah. Did you have a moment like that for you?
Yeah, the generation before, it was the GameCube. I remember I bought it when it first came out, and that was the first time where I was like, I saved up my own money. It wasn't a gift. It was very much I'm putting my own work and effort into this. And so the GameCube was I still have my GameCube and all my games and stuff. It's the most nostalgia pilled I can get is talking about GameCube.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I feel like the GameCube, because I also had 2 brothers, it was very much that era was still, because also we ended up getting an Xbox. It was very much playing games together. I feel once, because I'm the baby, I'm the youngest of 5. Mm-hmm. So it's when everybody went away to college and whatnot, then it's okay, I'm just here in my lonesome. What am I gonna play and do or whatever? So yeah, how about that? I find it so fascinating how so many of us that do this, that are about the same age, have really similar trajectories with gaming. I find it so fascinating.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's never really, that's not the case for all of us, but it's never really left. Once the bug bit when we were whatever age, it's it's always been around in some way, shape, or form. So
bugs. So did you grow up on a farm?
Oh, sorry, say that again.
So did you grow up on a farm? Were you a farm boy?
We didn't have animals and stuff, but we were surrounded by cornfields. And so when Mel Gibson and M. Night Shyamalan's Signs hit, Patrick, you know what age we were. It hit when we were just old enough to perceive, things a little differently. And Signs
fucked me up.
Oh,
And so if you living next to cornfields, I can't imagine. I'm so glad you're still with us.
We used to play signs. We would run out into the cornfield in the middle of the night with flashlights, and we would play signs. And
we used to play signs is so crazy.
And so, my childhood was, we were bored shitless. We had to figure out stuff to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm so obsessed with that. At some point, I want to just talk about your life for a whole podcast, but we do need to talk about some video game things. Yep. And in fact, before we get into what we're playing, I want to surprise you, Cam, with a little fuck, marry, kill. This is the fuck, marry, kill Diva edition. Your options: King of All Cosmos from Katamari Damacy.
Well,
Rouge the Bat from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Well,
Tingle from The Legend of Zelda.
I mean, Tingle gets down.
I know Tingle gets down. Fuck, marry, kill. What do you got?
Okay. I love him, but Tingle, you're gonna die.
Oh, okay. You don't want to you have no interest whatsoever to see what.
I mean, the red underpants give enough away, and what I'm seeing is not worth a fuck or a marry.
Yeah, he's certainly not a shower.
No. Doubt he's a grower.
Doubt, and with that lack of size, doubt he's a grower even.
For sure. And the mustache a little too well manicured for me.
Fair.
Yeah, ironic.
Fair.
So, I mean, looking at the other two options, I'm gonna fuck Rouge the Bat because I remember playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube, and they introduced her, and I was like, they're doing something different here. This feels like it's not necessarily a game for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I would need to see what she's capable of, and I wanna feel those wings.
Davey says this is performative on Pride Month.
You're telling me you wouldn't?
Yeah.
Dip a toe in those waters?
You don't know what's under Rouge the Bat's underpants.
Hey.
You don't know.
Yeah. She could be an icon of a whole different sort, and we just needed to support.
So then we're marrying the King of All Cosmos from Katamari.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the power he must wield.
Yeah,
they must wield. I don't even know that we have pronouns for the King of All Cosmos.
We don't know, but he's built correct, and he's clearly ages well.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to see that for a while.
For sure. I do sometimes think about the prompt of fuck, marry, kill, that marry in some ways is kind of like a cheat because you're gonna fuck them too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So then it's then the question in my mind becomes, is it the idea that it's this very jaded form of marriage where you fuck on your birthday and that's it? Because that is then what's the point of the prompt? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we're aligned. I think marry King of All Cosmos, fuck Rouge, kill Tingle. I think.
Yes, absolutely.
Maybe if you're feeling a little crazy, you fuck Tingle just to see what's up.
But then you'd have to kill Rouge.
I think I'd kill King of All Cosmos and just see what happens. Yeah, Rouge has got to stay.
Yeah, she's staying.
Regardless. Rouge has got to stay. Kayla, how do we get here? Because we're here for a good time, not a long time, Kayla.
Exactly.
But I do want to know what you've been playing. As we so often say, it is how we start our podcasts here on Spotlight Games. We just took a couple detours to get there.
Yeah.
But Cam, what you been playing?
I have been playing Outer Wilds, Patrick.
Tell me everything.
Well, I thought that this was Outer Worlds for the longest time.
Oh, sure.
Unfortunate, they both came out in 2019, and they're both named that.
It's tough.
You think someone would say, "Hey, let's change this."
Yeah.
But I am loving it. I know a lot of people compare it a lot to Blueprints. I think Blueprints is far and above a superior game. I think the story that they're able to tell, the way that the puzzles interact with you, the way that you interact with the world is masterful. And I think Outer Wilds is fantastic, but I am nearing the end. Tomorrow it will be my last stream of the game, and I'm very excited to close the chapter and confidently give Outer Wilds a 7.5 out of 10.
So tomorrow when you're finishing the game, are you hitting credits finishing, or you're just I am done regardless of the result?
Great question. No, I'm rolling credits. Yeah. Okay. I've been streaming it for about 2 weeks, two and a half weeks, and I've loved it, but I'm ready to be done.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I have such a weird relationship. That's giving it way too much credit. I think of Outer Wilds interestingly, in that so many people say that it's one of the most special games that they've ever played. And my experience wasn't that, but I see how it could have been.
Yes.
And for me, I've never hit credits on Outer Wilds, and I've tried a couple times, but the first time I played, I got very far, but I just got to a point in the game where I had done so many things that I couldn't figure out what else to do. Where because like there's that like map that like is all the leads that are like tied together or whatever. It was so full. It was like a spider web of information, and it was very unclear to me what was missing, and I just like couldn't figure out what to do. And like I could, and that game is built in such a way that walkthroughs are not helpful. So I'm like, I've told myself at some point I want to do what you just did, stream the entire playthrough and have people guiding me along the way so that I know I don't get lost again. Because parts of that game I was so impressed with, but then I got so frustrated. Like I literally don't know what to do now.
I wouldn't have played it if I wasn't doing it on stream, and having the chat is like, it has made me enjoy the game exponentially more than if I was by myself. Because I'm not that, I ain't smart, these brains ain't good. And so that type of game, like, I'm surprised I like Blueprints so much. I'm surprised I rolled credits because that's just not the type of game I play. And so Outer Wilds, it's like, I'm so happy for the people that found it so special at the time. And I know that whatever that developer does next, I will be playing day one because I want to be a part of the zeitgeist.
Have you ever played, it's similar in ways, but it's also very different, The Forbidden City? Are you familiar?
No.
It came out 2021, 2-ish, somewhere in that range, maybe 23. But it was originally a mod for, I think, Skyrim that they then spun off and made their actual, like their own game of.
Holy shit.
But it's similar in structure where like it's like a time loop and you are trying to like solve this mystery, but it's set in like what kind of presents as like an ancient Roman city type. Like I don't think it's actually Rome, but it's like it's similar of the style. And you are tasked with like figuring out who broke like the forbidden law or whatever. It's been so long since I played it, I kind of forget the exact thing, but every day you go out and you like talk to people and you there are like threads that you need to figure out and try to stop the loop from happening. And I feel like that game is like a little bit more accessible of an Outer Wilds like. And I'd be interested to hear if you fuck with it, because it's the vast majority of that game's gameplay is conversations. So like if that's something that you like in like Skyrims and those kinds of games of like guiding the conversation and picking dialogue choices, that's like again the vast majority of what that game is, and like investigation of things. But
I'm imagining that you hit credits in the Forbidden City and it's just a story about Sodom and Gomorrah, and the whole game was sponsored by the Christian Nationalist Church or whatever.
That's exactly right. I'm essentially trying to soft launch my Christian nationalist persona on the podcast.
I figured you had that.
You picked up on that really fast, actually. Yeah, I'm so impressed. I don't have a ton.
What are you playing?
I don't have a ton new to add, because I talked about both of these games last week, but I've finished one of them and I'm like 10 hours further into the other. So I finished Dave the Diver in the Jungle DLC. And as I said at the top, my current game of the year. And I know it's DLC, people are going to be up in arms about it, but of the experiences of video games I have had this year, it is my favorite experience that I have had. That game just like it, Dave the Diver base game is so fun and cool and special, where like last night, Josh and Jerica hit the nail on the head in a way that I think I hadn't totally considered before as why I think the base game is so special. And I think it was Josh specifically, of like, it reinvents itself like all the time. Did you play the original Dave the Diver?
I put like 20 hours into it. Like I was deep in it. And then like, I don't even know what happened. Suddenly I just stopped. It was so weird.
Interesting.
And I anytime someone talks about that franchise, I'm like, God, I need to go back. And is the DLC, is that, you think, like the best way to jump back in? Or?
Well, so you have to beat the game to go to the DLC, which is unfortunate for someone who hasn't done that. Because it's like, if someone has never even played the game, it's like, man, to get to what is, in my opinion, the best content of the game, you have to play the whole game, which is unfortunate. But I think it does. It enhances so much of the base game and the things that it adds. So it adds a few like new mechanics. I mean, I say a few, it adds a ton of new mechanics, but there's like a whole kind of city that you can walk around in now, or in, like a village. It's not a city, and you can have relationships with people, and you can like do tasks for them, and you can like farm, and you can do like it has like Stardew Valley things to it. It has Animal Crossing things to it, but then it also still does the Dave the Diver thing that the base game does so well of like, oh, now you're playing Guitar Hero for a level. And it's like, just like, it throws these like kind of unique novel experiences throughout the game that is also still weaved through with like a really strong narrative and like really interesting characters. And yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I'm so chuffed with how much I loved In the Jungle, and I strongly recommend it to anybody, especially if you've hit credits of Dave the Diver. But great fucking game.
It almost feels like a narrative WarioWare. The amount of like you're just getting a taste of all of these little gameplay mechanics and styles, and then you're just like kind of off to the next one so quickly that you don't ever get the chance to be bored.
Yeah, and like even in a way, it's like it just kind of makes the experience better, because for me, the base gameplay loop I never got bored by. Going in the lake, in this instance, you're in a lake, you're not in the ocean, finding the fish, the sharks fight, whatever, and then doing the restaurant thing at night. Like that loop I found so enjoyable. So it was just like extra icing for me to be like, oh, you're still doing that really enjoyable gameplay loop. But again, every so often we're going to throw like, now in this version, there's a fucking turn-based RPG in it. Like there's like a whole section of the world where you go out into the jungle, and it's like a fucking Final Fantasy game. It's so fucking good. Like very, very, very strong DLC. Like one of the best DLCs I think I've ever played before. So
can you give us a teaser of which character you romanced? Who did you?
So I didn't like fully romance a character. So I'm not 100% that you can romance. You might be able to. Oh, okay. But because it's like it does the Stardew thing where like you can get them up to like 4 hearts or whatever. So it very is possible that you can romance somebody. Okay. There's a couple characters that I think would make the most sense to be romanceable options. I just didn't get to that point, if it exists. So unfortunately, I can't directly answer the question.
That's okay.
Yeah. And then the other game I've been playing, I've over the weekend when I was watching so much Star Wars and so much World Cup, it's like, oh, there's a World Cup match, I'm going to watch that while I play Xenoblade. And if there was a World Cup match, I'm watching a Star Wars movie playing Xenoblade Chronicles. Wow. And it took me a long time to really get into it. And it took my wife going out of town and abandoning me and because I'm not self-sufficient in making plans with people, I had like a couple plans Friday night and then Saturday morning, and then I did literally nothing the rest of the weekend. So I was like, you know what? Let's give Xenoblade another shot, because I finished Day of the Diver DLC, and I was like, I want to play something. And I was about to play Adventures of Elliot. Like I got that demo, and I was like, I need to give Xenoblade another shot. And smash cut to today, where I've put at least 10 more hours into the game. I'm just having such a fun time with it now. Like a couple episodes ago, I don't remember if it was last episode, I was having some complaints about the battle system. Have you played a Xenoblade before?
No, but I'm a huge JRPG fan, and everyone's like, oh, it's a sin that you haven't touched at least one of them. So yeah. And you're starting with 1? I'm starting with 1,
okay. Years ago, I had bought Xenoblade 3 on sale, and it was like, probably like $5 off or whatever, because it's a Nintendo game. But I was like, you know what? I'm that kind of person where I want to start at the beginning. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to fork the dough out, get Xenoblade 1. And I'm so glad that I did that, because now I'm excited to play 3 of these games with how like I'm really enjoying this one now. And I was worried about if I start with 3 and then I want to play the others and they're not as good, or, whatever. Control asked, are these the only Xenoblade games, or do more exist? I believe there's 4. I believe there's 1, 2, 3, and then there's one called Xenoblade Chronicles X. I don't know how X fits into all of those. If Coal Mines comes in the chat, I think he would be able to tell us, or Noah. But I'm not sure. But I was told to just play 1 through 3 to start. And so that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm having such a good time. But right. I started to say, I was complaining about the combat in the game a few weeks ago, where it's like, in a way, I felt like it was very passive, where you are running around in the space when you like engage with an enemy. But you only ever control your own character. You can't command your other characters unless you're doing like one specific move that's like a joint attack.
Sure.
And then otherwise you're just saying like, it's almost in a way it kind of is giving like a World of Warcraft type where it's like I'm running around the space and then I click the button to do the thing. It just does the thing. I'm not like pressing X to attack, XY to do like a light attack, heavy attack, whatever. It's just do the attack from behind move now.
Yep.
And I was like, it just feels kind of, I was kind of bored by it after like 5 hours. And it has gotten to a point now where the enemies are strong enough and like do enough like debuffing and stuff. And I've unlocked enough other characters and enough other powers of things that I don't feel it's as like passive as it was. I feel like now I'm constantly like actually having to think about what to do in a fight. So it's like scratching that part of the brain that it wasn't before. So yeah, I'm all in on Xenoblade. I need to burn through these as fast as fucking possible because we're about to be getting so many video games that I'm gonna want to play. But right now we're in like a little bit of a lull.
Yes.
So I'm like, all right, let's
Perfect
burn
time.
through as many Xenoblades as I can, because I think they're kind of long. I don't know the how long to beat, but I think they're more than like 30 hours.
Yeah, I think I was deciding between Final Fantasy 13 or Xenoblade, and I think Xenoblade was like 45 to 50, so maybe
okay.
a little bit more than Final Fantasy 13, but the combat sounds exactly like Final Fantasy 13, and I just finished playing through that, and I'm like, I could use some more, but a totally different story that I know nothing about, so I might jump in on that too.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's the classic like anime ass bullshit.
Yes.
The world that you live on is a giant being, and the two gods of this world are planets that fight each other, and it's like, okay, great, cool. And so it's like it's very popcorny, but I'm finally, and like sometimes those really click with me at first, and sometimes I just couldn't care less.
Yeah.
And this time I found a middle ground where I didn't care for a really long time, but now I'm finally starting to care, and like, okay, now I do kind of care about this like new faction of people and their princess and things.
Yep, you make it to like a desert or an island, and suddenly that's
exactly.
That's my RPG.
Control asks, but are they baddies? Control. The outfits you could put these characters in, I fear they're baddies, and I'm talking about all of them.
Is it true that you can remove like some of their clothing, have them be like not topless, like not a woman character that's topless, but like you can put them in like a swimming suit?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, you can basically have like swim trunks and a bikini on all your characters if you want. So I'm not saying I'm doing that, but I'm not saying I'm not doing that, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, I'm very in on Xenoblade. In fact, once I'm done recording this podcast, I will turn on the World Cup and play more Xenoblade Chronicles.
Good.
Anything else you're playing, Cam, before we jump into the first story?
I'm still Fortnite. I can't stop, Patrick.
Really?
I can't fucking stop. Yeah, I've probably put in 300 to 400 hours in a year.
Wow.
I started playing July of last year because of the Power Rangers stuff that they dropped.
Yeah, I remember.
And I'm playing like, God, 10 hours a week minimum. Like it's crazy.
Whoa. Yeah. Let me ask you this, because I've played Fortnite a handful of times, but I've never, I think it's safe to say I've played less than 5 hours of Fortnite all time. Yeah. Ever. Do you like only play with friends, or do you also just like run solo runs as well?
I'll do some solo stuff, but playing with friends, I don't know if there's a better multiplayer game.
Okay.
Batgirl had not played. Batgirl, who's usually in the chat, she had never played, and we just were like bullying her and being like, just try it out, you know, why not? And now she is like level 90 in this new season and stuff. Whoa. And so it's one of those games where like if you've got the right group of people, and if you are watching Drop In Drop Out, if you're watching this episode of Spotlight Games, you are in the right group with the right people. We just got to keep playing more Fortnite together. There's a bug on the camera.
Yeah, that what we I think decided that the shadow we were seeing earlier was actually like a gnat walking around on the camera.
Well, I'm disgusted, and I'm going to...
Oh, it's happened to me on more than one occasion where I'm like, I really hope people aren't seeing this bug that is just chilling.
I hope this is good for you, Twitch.
Count us down from 5.
Okay, no. Hopefully this will be fine. I thought it was a ghost, but hey, here we are.
Hey, What is a bug if not a ghost?
Exactly. W bugs. So.
W bugs. I'm always saying this.
Is that the fucking title of this episode? Jesus.
It might be. It might be. Yeah. I need to give Fortnite another shot. Like we were on the couch weeks ago at this point, me and Rose, and she just turns to me. Were we sober? Who knows? She just goes, "So what is Fortnite?" And I just bust out laughing, and I explained it to her, and she was like, "I think I want to try Fortnite at some point." It's like, let's fucking play some Fortnite. We still haven't, but. Because but Rose is the kind of gamer where she mostly just plays like she hyper fixates on one thing for a really long time. Like she played like over 1,000 hours of Stardew, and she started up a new island on Animal Crossing like 3 months ago, around the time that I got the Switch too. So no, that was a year ago. That's not true. I don't remember. Oh, I think it was around Pokopia when Pokopia came out. That's what it was.
Okay. Oh yeah, before the new Animal Crossing DLC.
Okay. And so she's just been so locked in on that. So once she's like past her second Animal Crossing phase, because the first time it was like a shared island. Yeah. Let's play some Fortnite for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm down.
Hell yeah. Well, Cam, we did our best to avoid bad news for as long as we could, but it is an episode of the Spotlight Games podcast where we talk about the latest in gaming news. So unfortunately, we will be talking about some bad news, and we are going to start with Xbox.
Yeah.
So Xbox is set to close Dishonored and Blade Studio Arcane and cuts its claimed control in the chat. So Xbox, that is correct. And this is like a few parts to this story. So I'm gonna kind of, let's talk about the first one and then we'll bring in parts 2 and 3 after. But this one, yeah, so set to close Arcane, which breaks my fucking heart. But this is Andy Robinson of VGC. He writes, earlier this month, media reports indicated that the Xbox division was planning significant job losses across its business as part of a major reset being planned by CEO Asha Sharma. The first developers at risk of being shut down were named by Bloomberg as Compulsion Games, Double Fine, and Ninja Theory, which we talked about a few weeks on the show. And then also 1A of this story, Undead Labs, the creators of State of Decay, are now also in the running to be shut down, supposedly. Now The Verge reports that France-based Arcane Studios, best known for Dishonored, is also facing closure if Microsoft is not able to find a buyer for the studio. Quote, sources tell me Microsoft wants to cancel Blade as part of a wave of cost cuts and job losses that are planned for the company's gaming division. Blade was originally supposed to debut later this year, according to sources familiar with the game's development. I'm told the internal ship date for the game slipped to late 2027, and it's also running over budget, end quote. Microsoft is expected to announce the extent of its Xbox layoffs next week, which The Verge believes will lead to studio closures or spinoffs, potential studio mergers, and canceled games. And they go on like some context about who Arcane is. If you don't know, they did Deathloop most recently, and then they also did Dishonored, Dishonored 2, Dishonored Death of the Outsider, and the Wolfenstein games as well. With Machine Games, they helped on those. So like an unbelievable resume of video games, like some of my favorite games that have ever been made. And so to hear that they are almost certainly closing, honestly, I think of all we've had so many studio closures over the last several years, and that we've talked about on Spotlight Games. I think this is the one that hurts my heart the most so far, of like, because I love Arcane so much. Deathloop, one of my favorite games ever, and Dishonored, so special. I've been so excited for Blade, although I've been like concerned about what's happening over there. But yeah, how are you feeling about what is likely to be that we probably aren't getting any more Arcane games?
Yeah, I mean, when you read off the resume, it's like weirdly games that I have never tried, but I've always been fascinated by from a distance. And I remember when they announced that they were getting to do Blade, I was like, finally, like an IP that I know and love. It's Marvel, it's superhero. Like, let's go. It's going to be incredible. And just to hear that is so, it's close to the finish line.
Yeah.
Even if it is late 2027, that is so many years and so many artists putting everything into this. It reminds me of like such similar story as, so many people in Hollywood pulling these films as they've wrapped, and then we just never hear them. And so it's like the fact that art and obviously humans who are going to be affected by being laid off is just so easily expendable in our society feels absolutely asinine. But that's a capitalist, society that we live in.
For sure.
It's just like, what are you going to do? But yeah.
It's so we have been covering the games industry for a long time here, and like we follow it very closely. But there's something about the games industry that I just don't have enough information about, and it's like in a situation like this, I'm so curious about a game that is in theory a year and some change away from shipping. Is that for a studio, like another studio or publisher, a good thing or a bad thing? Like, does that make them more interesting to buy because they're like so close to being done, in the grand scheme of AAA game development, where like this game has been in it was announced in 2023 at the Game Awards. So it's already been in, at least in the public eye, for almost 3 full years, which means it's probably been in development at least 2 years before that.
Yep.
So getting to that like 6-year time frame on average ish, is that like, is for someone like Sony, is that like, oh, that's going to save us a lot of money? Or is it like there's like tech debt with this kind of an acquisition and like all these things that'll actually end up costing us more money? I don't know, but I'd be interested if there was anyone that either listens to this or that has information about that, if they let us know, because I could see both sides of it, of like, is it that Arcane is actually like there is no shot that someone would buy them, or that there would be more of a shot because of that? I don't know. I hope it's the latter, but I wonder if it's the former, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, my former life before just all this streaming and full-time freelance stuff was I worked in startups, and when it comes to acquisitions and acqui-hires and IP transfers or whatever the thing happens to be, it's like that's always so messy to me. And so I wouldn't know necessarily if Sony were able to pick them up, or if another funder was able to come in and buy them out so they could become fully independent. I don't know if the Blade game would go. It might be owned by who.
Sure, it might be like, oh, we'll buy you, but I want you to make Dishonored 3 instead, potentially.
Yeah.
Or Deathloop 2, or whatever. I hope so, man. But then it's like there's also that the question that we kind of talk about so much on this side of the industry, just the talking about games, is like, is Arcane even Arcane anymore? Like, it's been 5 years since Deathloop. And in that time, a version of Arcane released Redfall, but that was one of their other studios that's also since been closed down.
Yeah.
So it's like, that, who knows at this point? Maybe that was just a lightning in a bottle that doesn't even exist anymore. But it's just, it sucks that this is happening.
Do we know so many layoffs have happened over the past, 3 or 4 years, whatever it's been? Do we know if any of those layoffs have been coming from Arcane? Because I'm wondering if at this point it's simply a shell of what it was. And there's, very few people in each department. Some departments might have been eliminated entirely.
Yeah. I don't remember. I wouldn't be surprised, though, with how often layoffs have been happening, if there was like a, 10% or 20% or whatever at some point happened.
Yeah. And it's just been chipping away until now, being at this point, they're like, the game will not come out and we're now shuttering Arcane. I don't know. It's crazy to think that we're just not going to have those games anymore.
Yeah.
Like all the future potential. I don't know.
And also the kind of, I glossed over it, but the Undead Labs part, like that was another story that dropped a few days ago as well. They, just like Ninja Theory, who just showed Cinema for the first time, they just showed gameplay of State of Decay 3 for the first time at the showcase. It's like, and now maybe they're going to be dead too. It's like, it's such a fucking bummer. But then, so part 2 of this story.
Yay.
Part 2 of this 3-part story. This is from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg. Xbox pulls out of Project Fantasy video game from IO Interactive. Microsoft Corp's Xbox has pulled out of a deal to fund and publish a game with IO Interactive, the maker of Hitman and the recent hit 007 First Light, as it reevaluates investment decisions. IO Interactive will continue to develop the game, which is codenamed Project Fantasy, but the privately held Danish game maker will have to find other funding or publish the game itself. Xbox is, quote, taking a fresh look at where we invest, so we're focusing on our highest priorities, a spokesperson said in a statement to Bloomberg News. We're not reducing our overall investment in games. We expect to invest about the same in content as we did last year. What's changing is where we're investing and the kinds of projects we're backing, end quote. In a statement on social media, IO Interactive said it has, quote, to adapt to this new reality and its short-term consequences, including staffing decisions. So they essentially announced that they're going to be doing layoffs to support this, essentially, now that they've lost the funding of Xbox. But there's something to me, Cameron, about the line, we're not reducing our overall investment in games. We expect to invest about the same in content as we did last year. What's changing is where we're investing and the kinds of projects we're backing. When they're in the news talking about 5 or 6 different studio closures. Yeah. Like, what do you mean you're investing the same? You're closing some of the most talented game makers in the world. Mm-hmm. It's just, ugh.
I'm wondering if Microsoft's whole future plan is just focusing on fucking like 4 IPs.
Yeah.
And putting all of their effort, all of their studio assets into those 4 IPs. Like, it's just, it feels like they're going to be more towards like, how do we have a GTA 6 every year in a different franchise or whatever it happens to be. But the thing that makes me most interested in this story is the IO Interactive part, because Amazon had just said for future Bond games, we now have the blueprint that IO Interactive made, and we're going to be exploring as many options as possible. And so I'm wondering, how is this shaking out with the James Bond of it all?
Yeah.
Are all of IO Interactive's like efforts going towards that, and like they're being pushed under Amazon? Or I'm just like, I'm so intrigued.
Yeah, I'm really worried about IO Interactive, one of my favorite developers too, because I'm a Hitman sicko and I loved 007 First Light. I think it's in my top 3 so far for my game of the year. Really, really loved it. And so yeah, do you remember, because we actually didn't cover that on the show. Did they say when Amazon is taking it over that IO is not working on future Bond games? Do we know?
They didn't say that specifically. I don't believe. I'm pretty sure it was, in some form of words, like, we're going to explore how this series evolves with,
Yeah. Which is so crazy because First Light seems to be performing incredibly well.
Yeah. What are the sales on it? I mean, I feel like so many people are talking about it.
Let's see if that's been published. 007 First Light sales. Google thinks I'm talking about like it's for sale. Okay, on Reddit, 007 First Light sales 2.7 million copies in its first week.
That's
really fucking good.
How much was that game?
$70.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not something to, what is it? Shake a tree at?
Yeah, you could shake a tree. Not at me, please. That's
no.
Trauma
in
my life.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It feels like this is a strategic move in some way to make sure, I don't know, I just feel like I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that IO Interactive gets to stick with the Bond.
Yeah, me too.
In whether that's with Amazon, I don't know. It's just, there's so many moving parts and so many different things are up in the air right now throughout the entire industry that there's almost like the catalyst of events. You can see the dominoes and how they're hitting each other. But
and then part 3 of this is just kind of like a button, a nice little way to wrap this up with a little bit of good news at Xbox's expense. This is Rebecca Valentine at Kotaku. Unionized workers at Xbox respond to layoff reports, say, quote, "We will not be treated as disposable." Essentially, that they're like banding together to be like, fuck you to Xbox, which
yeah,
chef's kiss to them. Yeah. Sierra says, I thought Amazon was taking it internal. I think that might be what, yeah.
Yep.
Which is so crazy to me. It's like, but it's so good.
Yes. What was Amazon's console? What was that?
Oh, the Luna, right?
So that team. So we're gonna have, or is that the team that's taken over James Bond?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but
they might be very talented. I don't know.
So why would you change up the formula? I mean, I'm sure they want to try to do it themselves to make as much money as they can. Yeah. But like, are you gonna get to make as good of a game as IO just did? Because probably not. Man, that's got to be such a bummer for them too. Of like, we just spent years building this, and now we don't get to make a sequel.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Or maybe they'll let them do a sequel, and there'll just be multiple James Bond games on the market. But I doubt that.
Yeah.
I highly doubt.
W unions though.
Unions.
Yeah. Love when people speak out like this.
Me too.
I think unions are super important, and the more that we have in the video game industry and every industry, the better we're all taken care of. So.
Me too. W unions. Cam, next story for us. We're sticking with consoles for a minute before we talk about the Splatoon Raiders Direct. Yeah. I want to talk a little bit about PlayStation 6. This is a story from Tom Henderson at Inside Gaming. Sony says it won't sell hardware at significant losses as PS6 costing $1,000 rumors continue. The news comes following a rumor last week that the PlayStation 6 currently costs around $960 in materials. The news came during Sony's latest Q&A session where Sony was asked to provide an update on their current plan around hardware pricing and profitability. In response, CEO Hideaki Nishino said, quote, "First, we regard hardware as the base for providing the gaming experience. And by offering products such as the PlayStation Portable Remote Player, we aim to provide experiences tailored to users' play styles beyond the living room, which has traditionally been considered the primary usage environment," end quote. He did continue to say, quote, "As for pricing, it is not realistic for us to absorb all component and cost increases, and we have already implemented some price increases outside Japan. At present, however, sales are proceeding as planned, and we do not believe this has led to a decline in customer demand. As a principle, we do not intend to sell hardware at significant losses. At the same time, we are carefully monitoring the market and continuing to evaluate our approach. We believe it is important for us to make every effort to ensure that customers fully understand the value we provide in relation to pricing," end quote. Traditionally, PlayStation has subsidized its console prices by a couple of $100s in the hopes of flooding the market with consoles and making profits on software. However, it seems like the current RAM situation has made that unfeasible. And according to rumors, the PS6 is currently planning to launch next year in 2027, a date that Insider Gaming couldn't verify themselves. But that was another story of like, there's some insider that one of these leakers, a Nate the Hate type, that was like, someone said that it's PS6 is getting delayed, and he was like, I don't think so. I think they're still looking at 2027. So we could take this in like 17 different directions. Yeah. But I think to start, what I'm most interested to hear from you, Cam, because last week's Steam Machine prices starting at $1,000 all the way up to $1,400. Seems like $1,000 is probably going to be like the entry point for consoles, at least for the near to medium future. My first question to you is: would you pay $1,000 for a gaming console?
For an exclusive, a PlayStation or an Xbox? No,
not anymore.
No, not anymore. There aren't enough games that come out that are exclusive that make me justify that purchase. Yeah. Which is why we're kind of like honing in on PC. It just feels like the most bang for the buck right now. So yeah.
Yeah, Davey and Cirrus chiming in the chat. Cirrus says, if PS6 is PS5 Pro with better ray tracing and frame gen, I will not be upgrading. If they offer a handheld alongside it, I will be getting that though. And Davey says, if it launches next year, I'd likely skip the generation. They didn't give me enough exclusives on the PS5. Both very salient points. I think for me, I'm at this point where, we've also like, it is not a new conversation or new point to say we have reached that point of where like the next gen just isn't as big of a jump as it used to be. Like we've reached a point of diminishing returns where you can only make game look so much better and run so much better and whatnot. And so for me, typically the person that is there day one, I agree with both of them of like, because here's the thing that I see is if the PS6 launches next year, God of War Lao Fei, Spider-Man 3, Wolverine 2, these games will be launching on PS5. There's no way that a $1,000 console will have an attach rate like a Switch 2 or a PS5 does, because it's just too expensive. And so there's no way that they're going to send these $250+ million titles to die on a console that has sold 2 million copies. So it's like, I won't see a reason to go to a $1,000 console unless there is something more than those things that they just said in the chat. It has to be more than just a better frame rate or whatever. Like, but then at this point, like, I don't know what they could do, right?
Yeah, there's no innovation that I need more currently with video games. Yeah. I think video games where they're currently at gives me the fidelity, the graphics, the whatever it happens to be, exactly how I need it. Yeah. And I would rather just focus on games in the current existence of what we got for the hardware. And I feel like this recent spike in RAM and how much more expensive it is for these systems to get made, I'm just like, why wouldn't you sit it out?
Yeah, sure.
And just say pause The thought of PS6 launching next year feels asinine to me.
It does. It's like it feels like PS5 Pro to me. Like
yeah.
like there's just no way that it can be that big of a leap in this amount of time. And like because also part of it, my thinking is like if they aren't wanting to delay it, it must be some kind of cost benefit analysis of like the further we push it, the more tech progresses, and thus now our box is just that much older. And so it's like, wait, I think so. Then I'm like, is this the first sign, perhaps, that from this point on? I mean, we already saw it with Switch 1 to Switch 2, a very iterative console, in that it isn't a huge step up. It's almost, in a way, it's kind of like a Switch Pro.
Yeah.
That are we just at like 0.5s from now on? Like, is it going to be kind of like iPhones where we like a lot of people just skip every 2 or 3 because it's not a big enough of a jump to justify. I don't know. It's interesting.
It feels like the numerical era of consoles is kind of going by the wayside. And I think we'll see more special editions and certain tweaks and like they'll become probably more like a PC where it's like certain graphics cards are different. But like, I don't know. That's where I could see it potentially going. But
for sure. Davey says at this point, it seems like most gamers are thinking about their ROI. And I agree. ROI mentioned because when it's like think about how when this console generation started, it was $400 to $500 to get in.
Yeah.
And that the next one is going to double that is just like, I have to think about ROI at that point because I'm spending double what I did last time. And what a fucked place to be in tech in general, that I think about how it took years for a game to be $10 more expensive. And now that's happened like twice in the amount of time it took for it to happen once last time. Yeah. And consoles are going to be double what they were last generation. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it seems almost like the bubble has burst. Like I don't know what that technical term is really, but
I don't know what the technical term is.
I don't bubble burst. I don't know, but it does seem like there's no return.
Yeah.
Like the bubble that was the video game industry that was such a singular thing for so long, it just feels like it's gone. Like
yeah.
And I don't know what the future holds, but
I don't either. But we're gonna figure it out right here on Spotlight Games as the future does unfold. A near future we can talk about, Cam. Today there was a Nintendo Direct all about Splatoon Raiders, the next Splatoon experience that is launching on Switch 2 in just under a month's time in July. This was about 18 minutes. What'd you think?
Less than 5% was dedicated to multiplayer, which worries the hell out of me.
Oh, really? Say more.
I feel like a game like this should be encouraged as much as possible to build out like the Nintendo Switch 2 ecosystem of you want to play this with your friends. I think so many of the Nintendo Switch 2 games have been more like individual single player other than Mario Kart World, but also I don't feel like many people are playing that on the regular. And so I feel like this game was a great opportunity for them to be like the killer app that you'll play online with your friends or a local couch co-op or whatever it happens to be. And yeah, they only gave like 2 to 3 minutes on multiplayer, and I was like, oh no. So
yeah, very much they're absolutely kind of staging this one as a single player experience, which interestingly for me has me the most excited I've ever been about Splatoon, because I'm just, as anybody that listens to this, at least, more, if this is your first episode, you don't know this about me, but I don't love a multiplayer game. I will play them from time to time, but I very much am more drawn to a single player experience. I kind of view gaming as my way to like disconnect from the world, not connect with it. But, so many people, it's the opposite. And so I'm excited to like actually jump into a Splatoon game. Did the Direct move the needle for me? Not really at all, but I'm definitely like, I expect them to have some kind of a demo, because Nintendo's been doing a lot of demos recently, which I think it would be a good idea. But then also Sirius mentioning in the chat, this one having local co-op is also very interesting to me. Like, is this something, I don't know that Rose in particular would be excited to play Splatoon, but maybe she is, and that could be like a fun game we play together. I don't know. But Yeah, I don't know that this will be a day one for me, perhaps, but I do think that I'm more interested in general because of the single player of it all.
Yeah, it felt like it was just the tutorial for the game. Like it felt like when we do boot it up, it'll be pretty much what this direct was. They really walk you through gameplay and all this stuff, and I'm like, it seems intriguing. I don't know if they've released the price point.
I don't know. Let me look real fast. Let's see.
But that's one of those things where I'm like, depending on the cost, and I want to like
$49.99, pretty good.
Not terrible. I want to see like Jake play it. He's kind of the litmus test for a lot of us, I think, in the community. Like he's going to pick up something on day one. He's going to play it and just be able to watch this game in actual action. I'm like, then I'll probably decide. But I don't have a lot of faith in Splatoon. I've never been.
Right. Yeah. I the only time I've ever played Splatoon, I think it was for 3. They did those like tests, those like online test servers or whatever. I did one of those at some point, and I was like, I see the allure of this franchise. It's just with it basically just being multiplayer. It's like I'm never gonna spend the money. Yeah. So yeah, I'm hopeful because man, Splatoon has a fucking audience. Like there are Splatoon freakos out there, both in the just I like the game sense and also in the I like pornography around the game sense.
Really?
Oh yeah, there's looking
Splats?
there's splats out there, dude. I don't know what they call themselves, but they be splatting for sure. Any splatters?
Oh no, I inked.
Oh no, I'm inking everywhere.
Wow.
Well, that I think is a good story to kick off our news spotlight, which is our smaller news headlines around the internet and around the gaming sphere. I have a few others to go through today, Cameron. We got some corporate cuck shit, unfortunately. Sony going to remove over 550 purchased movies and TV shows from PlayStation users' digital libraries. It is confirmed. From September 1st, 2026, all purchased content related to the production and distribution firm Studio Canal will be removed from PlayStation users' video libraries due to the end of a content licensing agreement. This is not everything that this includes, but this article gave a couple examples of movies like Evil Dead, From Dusk Till Dawn, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and TV shows like The Young Pope and Trust Me. So like a mixture of like bigger things and like not so bigger things. So I don't fully know the scope of what these things will include, but a bad day for the digital only defenders like myself.
We got to get you on that Criterion collection.
Yeah, because that is tough. Like if I've never experienced that specifically. The closest I've experienced is like I can't get PT anymore. But if they took away things I paid for, that's when I would be like, and I know they can, I fucking agree to it when I buy it digitally. Yep. But what a shitty fucking reality that we're starting to live in some capacity. Sirius does say, I've been hating Studio Canal for years anyway. Their 4K Blu-rays have been complete ass, so I don't buy them. Well, there you go.
Didn't know that.
I learned all about Studio Canal today. So this one isn't a news story that I'm pulling from, but Noah actually looped me in on this. This is about Dead or Alive 6. Have you heard anything about this game recently, Cameron?
I've never Dead or Alived.
Whoa, how about that? So, this is a fucking weird, crazy thing. So apparently Dead or Alive 6 launched in 2019. And on day one, I'm like paraphrasing a bunch of messages from Noah. Day one, it didn't have functioning private match lobbies for a fighting game. It had thousands of dollars in paid DLC for all sorts of like characters and costumes and things. And it flopped really hard, never eclipsing 2,000 concurrent players on Steam and dropping over 80% of its users from March 2019 to May 2019. So like right after launch, basically everybody left the game. Yeah. A year after launch, they announced they were ending support for the game entirely. No more characters, no updates, nothing. They also launched a free version featuring just a few characters of the game. Last week, so smash cut, 7 years later, they launched Dead or Alive 6 Last Round, which is a special edition of Dead or Alive 6, and they delisted the original. So everybody that bought it, paid for characters and shit, all that is gone. And the new game doesn't feature crossplay, It doesn't have improved netcode or any sort of balancing adjustments. It's just like the same game again, but they're making you repay for all of the DLC and the game in general. Right now, the game launched with $1,700 in DLC. Characters ranging from $8 to $26 a pop.
What?
And all of this they've done, and then Noah says they had the audacity to go to social media and be like, we promise that we're going to provide updates this time around, support the game, but you got to buy the game again. And they were like, oh, we sold 1 million copies of the Dead or Alive 6 series, which is now just 2 versions of the same game and a free-to-play version, which most of those sales, I'm sure, were the game from 2019. But just like such a weird, fucking crazy thing that if you bought that game in 2019, now you have to buy it again, and you have to buy the characters again. And like, people aren't, at least that I'm seeing, like in the streets about this. Is fucking crazy.
This feels like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Doesn't it?
It just feels so like double dipping. I mean, it's insane that they're just like, well, sorry. It's literally like, it feels like a bit from some satire.
Yes.
Of someone just being like, we know you bought this, but you are going to have to buy it again. Full price. And
I feel like Dead or Alive, the series, is such a, like, if you like lay out all the major fighting franchises, as someone who is not in the FGC, the fighting game community, I really don't know a lot. But I'm pretty sure Dead or Alive is like not one of the big ones. Like, it's like a B or C tier to my understanding.
Yeah.
So like the audience must not be that big, other than like the fighting game freakos that just really love it, and then the freakos that just want to see bouncy titties. Like, I feel like those are the 2 obvious audiences of Dead or Alive. And it's like, this, I feel like, is such a weird cash grab for what doesn't seem like a big audience. Like, what is, I don't know.
Why this game? Why this game from 2019?
Right,
why this game?
I guess they're hoping that enough people just like scroll past it on digital storefronts that they're like, oh, sure, I'll buy this for whatever it costs.
Oh my God.
But like, what a weird fucking crazy thing.
Yeah. Didn't they used to do volleyball?
They did. Yeah, that's like a secondary franchise, I think. Okay. Like a sister franchise, as it were.
Stick to volleyball, I think, from now on.
A stepsister franchise.
Oh. Well, you know, not related by blood, so everything.
With the content of that game, you're picking up what I'm putting down.
Okay.
Last one. Oh, actually, before I do that, we got a chat about this. Pixelated Soul says it's known as a good game mired in Gooner content. It's never been top tier enough for an Evo main stage tournament. That makes sense. That like people like it, but it's never made the big time. It's not made the big time, Cam.
Try again.
Kate of Awesome, thank you for appreciating my stepsister comment. Thank you very much. I can sleep soundly tonight. Last one, Cameron. New Switch 2 model spotted in the wild with an updated screen. As spotted by Nintendo Patents Watch, the big firm Nintendo Patents Watch.
Love them. I get their newsletter.
Do you? I love that. Is it a Substack? The updated model allegedly surfaced on a Chinese resale site and features a sharp LCD panel with significantly redesigned inputs compared to the standard Switch 2 model, suggesting it is not a mirror or a minor revision. It's speculated that the new screen could potentially address the ghosting issues that the launch model suffers from compared to its predecessor. Either way, it's definitely not the Switch 2 OLED, let's be clear, that many users have been hoping for, but I guess just like a better LCD screen in some capacity. So, wow. I'm sure it's not going to like change the price, but I thought it's interesting that like a year and some change later, they're already bringing a new Switch 2 in the market.
That's strange. Yeah. I haven't seen photos. Have you seen photos of it?
It looks pretty similar. I think it's the inside that's different.
Oh,
to my understanding. But it still has the bit like, oh yeah, it's actually right behind me. I think from the picture I saw, oh God, my Switch.
You're ready for Xenogears. Oh my God. Or Xenoblade, whatever.
Xenoblade. Yeah. It still had, to my understanding, like it still has kind of that same like pretty big bevel.
Okay.
Or bezel. No, that's a bezel, not a bevel. A bevel is when I stick my knee out and look sexy in a picture.
Right. Right.
Very good.
Will you be picking up a Switch 2? A new Switch 2?
I won't. But whenever and if ever we get a Switch 2 OLED, I'm think that would be the time for me.
I've never owned an OLED. Is it really what it's... Well, no, I had a PS Vita.
Okay, yeah. So if you look at a Switch 2, whether it's the base model, a Lite, the second or third model of the Switch that's like just better, you look at that next to a Switch OLED, it is like couldn't be more night and day. Like really? It is such a huge jump from those screens. But as like a Switch OLED, like I go to bat for the Switch OLED. The Switch 2 is about as close as you can get, I think. So like I'm very pleased with the Switch 2, even though it's not OLED. The main thing that I like about the OLED is how bright it gets. And then also they take away a lot of that bezeling of like the nothing on the screen, of just like the black border stuff.
Sure.
But it's just it's so like the red of the Switch 2 or of the Switch when you pop open that OLED.
Like a Mario cap. Cappy flying in.
Yeah, for like the very first time, if you've not played with an OLED before and you pick it up, just like open up one of the Nintendo Switch Online, like storefronts or whatever. Just that first red that pops. Oh my god, it'll blind you in the best way possible.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Sirius says Switch 2 is a huge upgrade compared to Switch 1 LCD, but has significant blur, which OLED doesn't. That is true. It could be crisper, which is what the OLED would do, with all those little pixels, those beautiful, beautiful pixels.
I got bad eyes, so I feel like I'm always seeing things at a blur. So for me, it's just like, who knows? Maybe the OLED is the thing I've been looking for this whole time.
Maybe. Do you wear contacts or anything, or glasses?
I do. I do contacts. Yeah.
Farsighted, nearsighted?
Nearsighted. One of these days I'll wear my glasses so you can see.
Yeah.
They're about like this thick.
Whoa.
So my eyes are just like tiny, tiny, tiny.
How about that? Yeah.
Very fun.
I love that. Yeah.
More stories to tell.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. One of these days when we have a podcast that's not about games, we'll just talk about life and it'll be so fun. Cameron, that's all I have on the front of news.
Beautiful.
A tight 65.
Not too bad.
Is there anything else on your heart that you want to talk about?
Oh, I mean, so many things. First off, Rose, our Dress to Impress date went a little too short, and I'm excited. I'm excited for her next time. I know she listens to every podcast that you do.
Every single podcast. She knows all the lore, everything.
Good. So I'm excited to continue that next time. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just I'm happy that we got to talk through some stuff, even though we are drowning in shitty, terrible news about one of our favorite things kind of imploding right in front of us. Yeah. It's still good because we still get to play games and try and support all the art being made. So
it's so true.
Yeah.
And of course, speaking of support, thank you for the support of our little podcast. Cirrus, Mjolnir, Davey, Cater Blossom, Pixelated Soul, fucking other people that are in the chat that I forgot and I'm not scrolling fast enough. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thursday night, I hope to see you in the chat, 8:30 Eastern time, right here, twitch.tv/drop-in-drop-out-pod with friend of the show, Khalif Adams, coming on for a nice, sweet podcast experience all about 2D versus 3D, which will be very, very fun. Cameron, where can they find you in the meantime? Streaming every day of the week?
Every day of the week, every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time. Yeah, coffee and chat, and we cause chaos and play games and do stupid stuff, and we boy kiss, and it's very fun.
Boy kisser central.
You are getting it down.
I'm getting it down. I practice, and I'm getting pretty close. It's like if I have a cold and I can get a little bit lower.
Really
it's really good. It's really good. All right, folks. Jake is doing a Fall Guys 5 Guys jamboree. He's eating 5 Guys while playing Fall Guys. So let's go raid him. But in the meantime, thanks for being here. Again, thanks for watching. Join the Discord, drop-in-drop-out-pod.com. Thank you for being here, Friendship, my sweet prince. The prince who was promised, in fact. I'll talk to you so soon. And until then, bye-bye.